Okay, we have a new Kriya exercise. Today we will conclude the Kriyas. Pay attention. Hatha Yoga Pradipika chapter 2. Sutra 33. Then Nauli is described. With the shoulders bent down, one should rotate to the left, to the right and left, the stomach with the speed of a fast circling eddy. The Siddhas call this Nauli. Now, we've seen this last sentence before. The Siddhas call this. Today it's Nauli. What is a Siddha? Siddha is an initiated one. A yogi who manifest the siddhis. Siddhis are what we call paranormal or supernatural abilities. Only they are not supernatural or paranormal. They manifest in anybody who practices yoga. That means a siddhi is a yoga master, somebody who is properly initiated into yoga. It looks like an empty phrase, but it's very important information. Remember that we were told to keep this secret, and then it seems the book just reveals the secret, and I told you it's a booby trap. The fact that it ends with this phrase means you need to have guidance, somebody who understands what's behind the text, behind the symbolism. Now, Nauli is an exercise that if you do this literally, it's not really harmful. Like Dauti and Vashti, they will harm your intestines, your stomach, your esophagus. But Nauli, that is a gymnastic exercise basically of the abdomen. It starts, if you do it literally, it starts with exhaling completely and then making a vacuum, pulling back the stomach towards the spine. And what is described here is that you put your hands on your thighs, properly described here, and then you start rolling your belly left and right. You can look it up on the internet. If you can do it, it's spectacular. And the positive benefit is that it massages the intestines, so it stimulates digestion, and it conditions the muscles around the waist. So nothing wrong if you do this literally. But of course, in line with what we have done so far, there's no connection, there's no logic. This one too has to be approached in the same way as we did before. And Tenzin, last week, he made a very interesting remark. He saw something that most of you didn't see yet. And he said, it all ends in Manipura Chakra. And that's where we arrive today. The focus in the fifth step is on Manipura Chakra, but not before you have become familiar with Shiva inflow, Shiva outflow, Shakti inflow, Shakti outflow, and more importantly, the tool with which we work, which is mind control, concentration, which we last week learned with Neti, developing awareness of the entity, the intellect, and then using sheer concentration so that we learn the ability to control energy based on thought. This all sounds like magic, and to make it practically a little bit understandable, we read about pregnancy through prayer. And we talked about the issue that actually the mind, if conditioned properly, is a pretty powerful tool, which you can use to create or destroy. We will come across a sutra that will tell us about this when we learn various pranayamas. I also told you the story about the Tumo yogis. Have you looked it up, Tumo? Tumo yogis? Tumo yogis are basically doing this. They trained their yoga and they ended up concentrating on Manipura chakra for hours at a time, creating so much heat that the snow and ice around them melts, and the wet blanket they started with is dry by morning. We will not do anything extreme like that. What we want to do is understand energy. So we will do a very interesting exercise. I've done that since the beginning that I am teaching this. And the outcome, without exception, is always the same. This is what we are going to do. It proves that something that you cannot consciously feel, subconsciously is there. You follow the steps. Dhauti, swallowing a piece of cloth, and then pulling it out. Vashti, sucking up water, expelling it. Then you move your attention to Ajna Chakra, Neti, and you start concentrating on Nada, which is Trataka. When you feel focused, simply move your attention from Ajna Chakra to Manipura. Put your hand on your belly. I usually use a finger. I put a finger where I think Manipura Chakra is located, and I start circling like a eddy. It's described in the text. Circling like a eddy. Spin left, spin right. With your eyes closed and in concentration. And simply feel. And when we finish the meditation, you tell me what you felt. Is it spinning left or is it spinning right? So, you have built this up, you're in concentration, and when you feel ready, you simply spin and observe. How does it feel? Does it feel good or not? Then you spin the other direction. How does it feel? Does it good or not? The difference between left and right is very, very subtle. So you will be very doubtful. But when we're done, I will ask you to put up your hand. Did it spin to the left? Put up your hand. Or did it spin to the right? Put up your hand. Experience shows that the majority, usually more than 80%, guess, is an educated guess, if that is a proper expression, guesses the right direction. Which is in fact a gamble, but a gamble based on what you think you feel. You have to guess. This sounds weird, but in the beginning of your development of becoming a more and more sentient human being, sensitive human being, you're not always sure of what you feel. Is it my head or is it my heart? Is it my intuition or am I just making it up mentally? How do you deal with that dilemma? By guessing. You guess what you think is correct. If you're wrong, no need to feel bad. Just see it as an interesting experiment and it will guide you toward what is right. This is the only way to sharpen your senses, your subtle senses. This is the only way in the future to become more certain about the voice of your heart as opposed to the voice of your intellect. This experiment with Nauli shows that you can do it, that it works. Yeah? 25 minutes. Take all the time you need for this. If there is time left, you spend the remainder of the time simply concentrating on nada. Try to intensify concentration on nada.
Just one question afterwards. When we're talking about the direction clockwise and counterclockwise,
Yeah.
are we doing it from looking at somebody or from our own perspective? Because, you know, left and right are reversed. When you're
Usually this question comes up after we're done. You know Public Enemy? Public Enemy is a rap group. It's one of the founders of hardcore rap. The lead singer of Public Enemy always has a clock, a household clock, on a chain around his neck. So just imagine you have that clock. You are the lead singer of what's his name? Fab Five or something? You have this clock hanging around your neck, and this is clockwise and this is anti-clockwise. Yeah, if I hang a clock here facing you, this is clockwise, this is anti-clockwise.
So it's from the perspective of somebody looking at you then, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Eh?
That's anti-clock.
Korean people, I will give you a slight hint. Your grandma probably knows the answer. Shh, don't tell anybody. No, it's very interesting.